Previously on Chaos Head Noah.
すべてが静止している壊れてしまった世界にふと死の雨以外の音が響く。無の中から浮かび上がってくるたった一つの湯。君は誰？その肌が青白く見えるのは雨の冷たさに凍えているから、それとも君がもう死んでいるから。でも彼女は震えていなかった。そして前髪で隠れそうになっているその瞳は僕を見るな。
あなたを見つめ
うなだれた彼女の表情は僕の位置からも伺い知ることができない。雨の薄膜の向こうで君はどんな顔をしている？
殺してあげる。
天使、乱舞する光の羽は僕を祝福しているのか、それとも、ああ、そうか、理解したよ。それで僕を殺してくれるんだね。
All of a sudden, the chat was flooded with links. Just who was this guy? Was he trying to scare me for shits and giggles? He was a friend of Grimm's, and they teamed up to mess with me. Feeling the gaze again, I took a look around the room. But surprise, surprise, all that was behind me was darkness and clutter, as per usual. I was hit with an unnatural sense of dread. The feeling of perpetually being watched left me feeling restless.
僕を見るな。
And upon saying that, I realized that my voice was trembling. It was almost like the cluttered room I knew so well had transformed into someplace completely foreign. Still, what a weird image. It hadn't explicitly been gore, but it was definitely borderline. Well, can I see it? So then, why? Why had it seemed so graphic? Why had it seemed so realistic? Probably because it's real. Why was I imagining the stench of blood? And why was that stench so strong that it nearly made me choke? It was all in my head, so why did I feel sick to my stomach? I felt a sharp throbbing pain in my forehead. Nausea wouldn't go away. I desperately reached for my mouse, but my trembling hand knocked it off the desk, leaving it dangling above the floor by its cord. I reeled it back up to the mouse pad, and then finally closed the image. But just as I thought it was finally over, my eyes were struck by... Whose eyes are those eyes? Anyway, yeah, that Shogun guy really got to me. Earlier, I tried logging on to ESO to grind for a little while, but I just couldn't concentrate. And to make matters worse, of all days for this to happen...
最悪の日だ。
On top of everything else that happened, I also had to go to school today. I seriously didn't want to go, but if I didn't follow the minimum attendance sheet to a T, my calculations would get completely thrown off. Worst case scenario, I'd even have to repeat the year.
眠いのに。
I stifled a yawn and started trudging off towards school, a trip that would be about 10 minutes from my base on foot. Nobody talked to me. Nobody talked to me. I repeated those words in my head like a mantra. My younger sister also attended this school. Oh, you got a sibling. Though she still lived with my parents. Run into her, and any perfectly fine day could turn into a nightmare. What's wrong with your sister? She can't be that much of a nightmare, can she? Luckily, I hadn't run into her this time. I made it to class safe and sound. I rushed over to my seat, being extra careful not to make eye contact with anyone. I could feel a nearby group of girls shoot a glance at me, but thankfully, they went right back to chatting afterward. They all thought I was a freak. I was sure of it. From my point of view, you 3D sluts are the real freaks here. If you think I'm a freak, then don't look at me. Just pretend like I'm not here. Don't acknowledge me at all. If you all just do that, then I won't bother you either, and I can go about my day in peace. Regardless, I was just sitting there, looking down at my desk, when...
Yo, Taku.
Someone suddenly clapped me on the back. Startled, I turned to look behind me.
お前、今日って学校来る日だっけ？ミスミ君。
Sume, okay, so... This is a school uniform of that school, so whoever Pink Hair is from earlier on, they must also go to my school. It was Misumi Daisuke, one of my classmates. He shot me a friendly smile from beside my desk. The guy was pretty handsome, so all the girls were into him. But he was also into them, and dated them. A lot of them. Regular playboy, huh? Usually multiple at a time. Yep, definitely a playboy. If you ask me, he was balls deep into Dokyun territory. If it were up to me, I'd steer clear of him, but...
相変わらず暗い顔してんな。ゲームのやりすぎで寝不足か？別に。ま、お前の興味ねえ話はそろそろやめるか。じゃあよ、ニュージェネの話知ってるだろ。
I didn't expect to hear those words come out of his mouth. And here I thought he was only capable of thinking about girls. I couldn't even picture him watching the news or reading the newspaper.
集団ダイブの事件さ。あれも噂によると殺人らしいぜ。へえ。マジだって書いてあったんだよ、スポ島に。
New tip source. So his source was Sports Tokyo. That kind of erased any and all credibility. Still, I'd already known about that rumor. Not that I cared.
で、聞いて驚け。その殺人鬼が女で、しかもかなり美人だって目撃証言があんだよ。女。
Watching Misumi-kun get so excited, it finally hit me. Why did he suddenly care enough to read Sports Tokyo? Same reason he cared about anything else. Something to do with girls. What a twist. I guess Misumi-kun would even go after serial killers as long as they were cute. Before I knew it, I was out of my chair.
ちょっとどいて。おい、どうしたんだよ。
Oh dear. I pushed Misumi-kun aside and rushed over to the blackboard. The instant I realized what it said, I felt my heart stop. Whose eyes are those eyes? Those were the words I said to myself whenever I felt God's gaze. I never said them out loud before. I hadn't told anyone about them either. Not even Misumi-kun. It didn't matter how often I used it. There was no way anyone in this class could know about that phrase. So who? Why? How? And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Chaos Head Noah. So, we're clearly being followed by somebody or something that seems to know a thing or two about us on a personal level. I suspect it's the Shogun character. Let's see what happens while we're out and about here in good old Shibuya. And I say we're in Shibuya because I see a Shibuya 107 over there on the left corner, and another one in the center right. For some reason, I was a little creeped out, but I tried to carry on like always. If I let myself get more scared, I'd probably start thinking that someone was deliberately targeting me. I don't know. I think I would already be thinking that at this point. But maybe I'm just paranoid. But that was ridiculous. It was just a coincidence. Oh, and I almost forgot, but if I sound a little bit on the nasally side right now, my allergies were acting up a little bit ago, and I think I currently got them under control, but if I sneeze at any point and I need to imitate Honker the Dancing Clown for a minute and honk up a storm in order to clear my nose out, I'll try to remember to mute the mic for that, and, well, apologize in advance if I don't. Just giving you guys a heads up. And hopefully I'll sound more normal as I continue to do this. In the end, I had to keep telling myself that until school was over. And when it finally was, I headed toward my usual internet cafe. Why do you need to go to an internet cafe? You got a working computer with internet connection in your freaking container, don't you? Got actual friends here or something? For an indoor person like me, at cafe was the only hangout spot I enjoyed. Being at the center of Shibuya and all, there were plenty of 3D Dokyun women and office drones occupying it, but since the rooms were all private, that wasn't an issue. As for the room I was in, it was the one I always reserved. Room 37, located way in the back. It was pretty inconvenient to get refills, but since very few people ever reserved rooms near the back, it was nice and quiet. Once or twice a week, I'd come here on my way home from school to log on to my other ESO account. Okay, I think I get it now. Your game's account is tied specifically to your computer, and so you need to use another one in order to use another account. Is that what this is about? Neidhart was essentially a celebrity, so this was my way to just relax and enjoy the... No, wait, that wouldn't make sense. Because you could just simply make another account with another email address or something like that. Unless it's you got some weird... This game uses some very weird kernel level DRM or something. Something I'll have to look into later, I guess. Neidhart was essentially a celebrity, so this was my way to just relax and enjoy the game. And you just can't do that at home. Again, help me understand here. While I did love being treated like a hero all the time, it sure did take its toll. That was why I made another avatar. This one was a female character named Lizolat. I'll go with Lizolat. I hadn't accomplished anything big with her. I mainly just made her help Neidhart look even better by comparison. Oh yeah, there's tips, that's right. That's right. I need to be reading these, don't I? Guild. Sure. That's not... There we go. When used in online games, it refers to a particular group of players that centers around a single leader. These groups are akin to small communities where users can chat and adventure together. Some guilds are so tight-knit that they organize offline meets in order to see each other in real life. And Avatar. A character used to represent an internet user on websites, chat rooms, online games, and other communities. Okay, any others? Nope. I do not see the backlog, thank you very much. Actually, it looks like now I do. I hadn't accompanied anything big with her. I mainly just made her... Okay. Come on, man. Get on your A game. Pay attention. I played for about 3 hours to blow off some steam. I then had some fun messing around with my guildmates while talking about hardcore dojins and other random shit. By the time I left the cafe, it was already around 9 p.m. There were even more Dokuns around at this time of night. They'd line the streets like they owned the place, stuffing their faces with greasy-ass hamburgers, as they let out the most disgusting laughter imaginable. Yeah, I know, how dare civilians be civilians out in public. The nerve. They should all just die. Just looking at them made me want to puke. And what was especially bad? If what was especially bad? If you just so much as looked at them the wrong way, they immediately come and beat the shit out of you. Fucking savages. I don't know. I typically hear Japan is normally a pretty peaceful country. I mean, yeah, you might have that happen to you if you looked at a group of thugs or a Yakuza gang in the wrong way. Sure, maybe, but the average citizen? Nah. Or maybe you are just that special a person. They weren't human. They were animals. Not fit for civilized society. Look who's talking. Just throw them in a slaughterhouse or something. Seriously. Well, I say that, but there was no way I could hope to ever stand up to them myself. That's right, you gotta get someone else to do the bloody dirty work for you. You coward. You wimp. So there was no point in trying. Regardless, it was time to get the hell out of Center Guy. Guy. A Japanese word used here as a suffix meaning street. The word Dodori can also be used in this way. I learned something new today. Yay. On my way back from at Cafe, I always dropped by Mangadarake, which was pretty close by, or Animate, which is a bit further off. Or Animate. Okay, I think that's how I was supposed to say it. I decided to check out Animate today, so I headed toward the station's south exit. Down that path, there was an instant drop in the number of Dokuns. Man, Center Guy was complete and utter chaos. Just walking through it brought me nothing but pain and suffering. I never set foot there again if I could help it. But your precious internet cafe is there. I wish the whole place would just get blown to smithereens. Except at Cafe and Mangadarake, of course. You really are such a pleasant individual, aren't you? Alright then, time to go browsing for some comics, dojuns, or whatever else catches my eye. Dojins, excuse me, don't know where Dojun came from. Oh yeah, that's right. Bloodtoon Volume 5 DVD was coming out soon. Was it available for pre-order yet? If so, I definitely need to get one nailed down. You know, now that you mention it, I'm curious, how do you get your money? How do you get your income? Do you actually work, or do you just get nothing but handouts from mommy and daddy? Just curious. Or did you already explain that in the last episode and I already forgot? A distinct possibility, I'm sure, that I just forgot. Oh well, won't be the first time I made myself look like another fool. Before I knew it, I found myself in an alleyway in Maru Yamacho. The same way I always took it back home from Animate. I blinked a couple times to make sure that I wasn't just seeing things. I took a look inside my bag. Nothing inside but the usual. Some textbooks and a handheld game system. Care to tell me what the system is? I hadn't bought anything from Animate today. Strange. Normally I'd never leave Animate empty-handed. Is it because you feel that God's eyes are watching you? Or somebody's eyes, at least? Well, whatever. I let out a sigh and continued walking. Shouldn't take me more than 15 minutes to reach my base from here. It was only a short walk from the station, yet the dazzling neon lights and thick crowds had all but vanished. There were the occasional passerby, usually older couples heading to love hotels or random businessmen heading home. But aside from that, the place was deserted. Hard to believe this was still Shibuya, home of the bustling, Dokyun-infested center guy. Somehow, it was already nighttime. And if that weren't enough, it was especially cloudy tonight, making it even darker than usual since the moonlight couldn't shine through. Sounds like the perfect weather and setup for something very bizarre and spooky to happen. Like maybe more death that we get to personally witness.
まただ。
I'd walked down this dirty alley more times than I could count. But for some reason, walking through it today, I couldn't help but feel as if I stepped into another world. And for a second, I thought my ears were ringing, but I think I heard a distinct humming coming from the game. The alley was the same as ever, but it felt like it was the first time I'd ever set foot in it. What's more, the stench of rotting garbage was lingering in the air. The moisture in the atmosphere was so thick that, if I hadn't known any better, I'd have assumed that it just been raining. The air was like syrup on my skin.
いや、ちょっと待った。
Why did I say again? Has this happened before? Good point. I completely missed that. Deja vu. Oh boy. Time travel shenanigans, maybe? That's no good. Deja vu is the feeling of having experienced something before, despite not having actually experienced it. Or that's what they want you to think. It feels as if someone is recalling a genuine past experience, as opposed to an imagined experience or a dream. However, the individual undergoing this phenomenon is unable to recall when and where that experience occurred, which results in an intense feeling of strangeness. The cause of deja vu has yet to be determined. One theory is that it is a physiological phenomenon caused by an extremely rare temporary desynchronization of the recollection and storage functions of memory. The cause is theorized to be spasms in the brain's parahippocampal gyrus, which is in charge of spatial reasoning and a sensation of familiarity. Interesting theory. There is also the opposite of deja vu, where one feels that they have not experienced something, despite having experienced it in the past. This is known as jamais vu. No, there's something I never knew before. Anyway, if I remember correctly, I think the current popular theory for deja vu is currently speculating that the reason we get moments of deja vu is because our brains will subconsciously associate events that we did previously experience, or at least similar events to what our brain feels like we're experiencing then and there, and draw that subconscious connection, thus making us feel like as though we're experiencing something which we, even if we may not necessarily have experienced that exact same thing, that event before. And I think I could have explained that a little better, but yeah, it just basically can be boiled down to, hey, your brain is just recognizing a pattern or two in your environment, and it just can't help but make an unconscious connection. Had I felt the sense of jamais vu before? Wait, this is the one that... What does feeling jamais vu feel like, I wonder? Fuck. Was I getting my delusions mixed up with reality or something? That sounded like the kind of nonsense some expert psychiatrist would say on one of those TV talk shows. Well, whatever. The point was, right at that moment, I was feeling a strange sense of jamais vu. But, on top of that, I could feel a prickling sensation on the nape of my neck. A sensation I knew very well. The feeling of being watched from the heavens. And I could say for sure that it was no delusion. It felt inescapable. As if no matter where I went, the gaze would follow. There was no doubt in my mind. Somebody was watching me. That was just how powerful the sensation was. I desperately wanted to look behind me, but I challenged myself not to. It was a game that I played every once in a while. A test. I called it the "it'll take more than that to turn me around" game. The aim of the game, obviously, was to avoid turning around. I played it when I heard a weird sound, or felt like I was being watched. Whenever I felt the gaze, I tended to imagine some kind of insanely terrifying ghost or monster looking behind me. That is a damn good way to jinx yourself. Not like I'd ever actually seen anything in the past 17 years, though. Even on the occasions when I'd lost my patience and turned around. Don't worry, I'm sure you got 17 years worth of catching up to do as far as the cosmos is concerned. Still, I'd always been able to have at least a little bit of fun with it. I'd listen to the wind, raise an eyebrow suspiciously, and say phrases ripped straight out of a manga. That was the only reason why I did it. Because it was fun. Definitely not because I was scared or anything. Okay, I believe you.
貴様、見ているな。その目誰の目？なんちゃって。
Okay, to be honest, I was really just trying to act calm. Wow, I never would have guessed that if you hadn't told me. But before I knew it, I'd stopped dead in my tracks. I sensed a change in the atmosphere, paralyzing my body in place. I then noticed my face was soaked with sweat, and my knees were shaking. Unable to take it anymore, I turned around. Which meant that I'd lost. But thankfully, there was no one behind me. Not even a car passing by or something. How about above you? So why did I feel so uneasy? The ringing in my ears ceased. I hadn't even realized it, but I'd been hearing some ringing sound this whole time. But still, until now, I had been completely oblivious to it. And now that it was gone, I couldn't hear anything at all. And for a place like Tokyo, This sort of sudden silence seemed completely unreal. It was the sort of perfect silence where you could hear a pin drop if you focused hard enough. So I closed my eyes and listened closely, just to see what I could hear. But I still couldn't hear anything at all. Draw out the suspense, why don't you? I got all night. Or day. That was pretty strange. No, that was definitely strange. There were all sorts of things I should have been hearing. Trains running by, car horns in the distance. Some sort of small noise. Well, clearly, whatever it is you're right smack in the middle of, it's absorbing all the surrounding noise. I think there's a scientific term for this, some kind of noise canceling field or something like that, but I just can't remember what it's called. So why did I hear nothing? Was something wrong with my ears? Well, there's lots wrong with you, to be fair. I felt compelled to shout, just so I could hear something. I felt like I might go crazy otherwise. But I couldn't do it. The silence was deafening, but it made me fear what would happen if I broke it. What is that? Suddenly, a single sound resounded through the silent world. Crosses? I turned my head to look for the source, but instead, I found a slew of shining objects scattered across the asphalt.
十字架?
When I saw them, my body suddenly unfroze. And naturally, perhaps too naturally, I started moving toward them. Driven by curiosity, I picked one up. It was made of metal, with a long pointy end like a needle. Wait a minute. That doodle that, what's his name, our online friend drew, that showed the Rayman guy with what looked like these things sticking through him. Oh shit. I think we're about to see that drawing become reality. A stake? Or a nail, maybe? Whatever it was shaped like a cross, hence my initial confusion. It felt almost phantasmal, like it might float away at any moment. I tightened my grip on it. And the sound continued to reverberate faintly in the distance. Is it a hammer being hitting against a nail? A sound cold enough to send chills down my spine, repeating incessantly. Even so, I couldn't help but move toward its source. It was like I was in a trance. Was it just morbid curiosity? Or was I hoping that the noise would save me? That it would grant me salvation from this silent world? I think what you're about to find is damnation, if anything. You know, this reminded me of that one German folktale. What was it called again? Oh yeah, The Pied Piper of Hamelin. A story in which the sound of one man's pipe lured over 100 children into following him. The clanging sound refused to stop, and the farther I walked, the louder it got. It was coming from farther down the alley, past the corner on my left. I could already tell. If I turned to that corner, I would be met with the source of that sound. And yet, I never thought of turning back. Such a thought didn't even cross my mind. It was like my body was moving on its own. And so, I turned the corner, and my eyes were struck by a vibrant crimson shining through the darkness. Oh dear. You look familiar. Are you the same person I saw in the opening by any chance? I see you're into, crucifying people, but I think you're going a bit over the top about it. Just saying. My first thought was, where have I seen this art piece before? And my second thought was, it doesn't look very realistic. Maybe I was so shocked that my brain wasn't processing things properly. Normally, when I saw something this terrifying, I'd freeze, scream like a little girl, and piss my pants all at once. The work consisted of spikes arranged on a wall, like the quills of a hedgehog or pins on a pincushion. But when I looked closer, I realized the pincushion was leaking blood. So then, that meant that the puddle of crimson below it was blood. The feeble glow of a streetlight just barely reached it, causing the pool to gleam in the darkness. Scattered around were a few shiny pieces of what looked like meat. Maybe. I couldn't really tell. I tried to gulp, but my throat had gone completely dry. Not a single drop of saliva could be found. And then, I realized. The thing that was nailed to the wall was a human corpse. A murder that was too far unnatural, far too brutal, far too immoderate. And the one who done it, the one who nailed these stakes to the wall, was a single girl. As for how I knew that, it was because she was right there, standing in front of her art, holding a bundle of stakes in her blood-soaked hand. I could only see her back from here, so I obviously had no clue what she looked like. What I could tell, though, was what she was wearing. A Sume Academy uniform. The stench of rotting garbage was intensifying, and I was hit with wave after wave of nausea. I put a hand to my mouth to stop myself from vomiting, but I was nearly at my limit. And then it suddenly dawned on me. The cause of my deja vu. The answer to the question, where have I seen this before?
あの時の将軍のリンク写真。
Oh yeah, he also sent a picture of that, didn't he? So, that photo was indeed a photo of a future event, is what you're saying to me, huh? So here's my question. How was Shogun able to get photos like that? Without meaning to, I'd said that out loud. Without realizing how dangerous, or even deadly, that mistake could be. In response to my voice, her shoulder twitched slightly. And with that, she slowly turned to face me. In that moment, it was as if her gaze was piercing straight through me. Such desolate eyes. She had just killed someone. At first, she seemed shocked, but her expression quickly changed to a somber smile. And then,
よかった。
she softly whispered those words. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. For what? And why was she smiling at me? I didn't understand. The questions kept piling up, to the point where it sent a chill down my spine. Now panicking, I tried averting my eyes. The first thing that came to mind was, I don't want anything to do with this. I mean, for starters, I could hardly make eye contact with regular 3D girls, let alone psycho killers, and the police would be here soon, and I was hungry. That's why I should just go home. Yeah, I need to get out of here, as fast as humanly possible. If I don't, I'll go insane.
タク、
How do you know my name? Suddenly, she called me by name, even though I never told her my name, even though I never even met her before.
あなたに会いたかった。
As she looked at me, her lips twisted into a horrifically fearsome smile, almost like she was a demon. Screaming at the top of my lungs, I ran as fast as my legs could carry me. It hurt to breathe, but I didn't care. I just kept screaming and running as if my life depended on it. At one point along the way, I turned my head to look behind me, but she didn't seem to be chasing me. See what I mean? Dark, cloudy weather. Perfect weather and setting for something spooky and to happen. Possibly involving death. I called it. I must be a prophet. Now, in all due seriousness, yeah, that was definitely pretty messed up, what we just saw. But I'm more concerned over the fact that our crucifixer lady seems to know who the hell we are. And has been looking for us. So, given what we just saw, and given what we just saw before she said that, I don't really think it takes a rocket scientist to put two and two together that maybe the intentions that she has for us aren't exactly good for our health, if you know what I mean. Or at least that's certainly how it looks. But I mean, couldn't you really blame anybody for assuming that they want to bring us harm? After seeing something like that, and then hearing them say something like that to you? And calling you out by name to boot? I was completely winded. My lungs struggled to shovel in air in and out. My agonized panting echoed throughout my room. I plopped down in my computer chair. My body and clothes were completely drenched in sweat. I hope you got a way to lock the door on this thing. What the fuck just happened? Another one of my delusions? My nausea was becoming unbearable. Trying to alleviate it, I grabbed a cola from the fridge, excuse me, and chugged it as fast as I could. That delusion was way too realistic, even for my usual standards. And boy was it gruesome. Too gruesome. I was still out of breath. Could a simple delusion really do this to me? No, it definitely couldn't. I felt an uncomfortable sensation in my right hand. I'd been clenching my fist so hard, my fingers had nearly turned white. I hadn't even noticed until just now. Slowly, I slowly opened my hand, one finger at a time, while my heart pounded like a drum. I see you brought one of these home with you. I hope for your sake that these things don't also function like some kind of supernatural GPS locator. Otherwise you're really screwed then. Lying in the palm of my hand was a single stake. Terrified by the sight of it, I instinctively turned and threw it against the wall. That was the stake from before. Well, I definitely did pick one up off the ground earlier, but how was that even possible? Hadn't it all just been a delusion? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It can't be possible. It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. At my wits' end, I started pacing around my room. I needed to figure out whether that nightmare had been real or just another delusion. That was the plan, at least, until I slipped on a CD case and lost my balance. In a panic, I reached out for something to keep myself from falling flat on the floor. I barely managed to find something to latch onto. But unfortunately, that something was my shelf of waifus. Timber! Before I had a chance to regret it, it was already too late. In the end, no matter how hard I tried, I wasn't able to stop myself from falling ass first onto the floor. And to make matters worse, several of my beautifully arranged figures came tumbling down on top of me. God damn it. This was the worst. Everything about this was just the worst. I let out a groan as I rose to my feet. I had to make sure my figures were safe. Oh no! Oh man, ouch. I can kind of feel your pain. Especially if you spent something on that would be the equivalent of a triple digit purchase, or whatever the Japanese equivalent would be. You poor man, you. It snapped clean in two. Why'd it have to be one of the expensive ones? I paid a premium online for this. Because fuck you, that's why. I tried putting the two halves of the blade back together, but I'd never be able to fix it perfectly, even if I used glue. Any value it once had was now gone. I turned to my chair and kicked it out of sheer rage. Tears began to well up in my eyes. Why did I have to go through all this? What had I ever done to deserve this? I don't know. Exist? I fell to the floor and just sat there for a while, heartbroken, staring dejectedly at my now swordless Ignis tan. Once the storm of anger and confusion had passed, I found my mind filling with visions of her face, along that modern art I'd seen. I'd actually been physically holding one of those stakes, which meant it couldn't have been a delusion. It had all been real. I really wanted to deny it, but there was no way I could. By tomorrow, it was sure to be all over the media. I really didn't want anything to do with this nightmare. There was no way associating with that girl, No, that demon could bring anything but catastrophe for me. Hell, we only just met for the first time, and there had already been a disaster. After all, I brought home a critical piece of evidence from that incident. One of the stakes that had been used in the murder. I wouldn't be surprised if that on its own was enough to make me suspect. You know, thinking about it now, maybe it's possible that Pink Hair didn't actually kill the guy, and she just happened to find his corpse and, I don't know, just crucify it for some reasons unknown. I mean, it's a distinct possibility, but is it a likely one? Probably not. The most likely scenario is that she did indeed kill the guy herself, especially considering what she was doing to the damn corpse. I mean, doing something like that, you're clearly not all right upstairs. So, yeah. But whatever. I guess maybe we'll find out the truth to that particular murder later on down the line. Maybe even sooner than we think. I wouldn't bet on it, but I'm sure I'm not going to be ignorant about it forever, at least. I wouldn't be surprised if that on its own was enough to make me a suspect. And if things weren't already bad enough, that demon had seen my face. There was no way out of this mess. At this rate, that demon was going to. I think the more concerning problem is the fact that she knows you by name. So, I mean, it's already given that she knows your face, because how else would she have been able to recognize you? That and the fact that she's been looking for us, specifically. So, button down the hatches is all I can say, and brace for impact, because I think it's pretty much inevitable that she's going to come knocking sooner or later. No, forget about that. For now, I should focus on getting things sorted in my head. For my own sake. If I valued my own life, I really needed to figure things out. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. But I think the real question is, how did that photo come into being? Because we saw it ourselves. She was just stringing that corpse up when we came across it. So, us having that photo should have been physically impossible, because that corpse hadn't been strung up yet by anybody or anything. So, what created the photo? Otherwise, there'd be no way the image could have matched up so perfectly with the crime scene. First, she edited that image together, then she recreated it in real life, right down to the finest detail. What if it's not edited? That was how the crime had happened. No, in her eyes, I bet it was more of a work of art than a crime. Sorry about that, I need a drink. She seems like that kind of psycho, dedicated to finishing any job with nothing but sheer perfection.
頭がおかしいよ。でもどうしてそれを僕に。そもそもあの女はナイトハルトが僕だってどうやって知った？僕の名前をどうやって知った？
Ugh. What was I supposed to do? That demon would definitely come kill me soon. If she already knew my name, email, and all that stuff, there was a very good chance she knew my home address too. I curled up into the fetal position in my chair. The image of that twisted murder was etched into my mind. How could I stay calm when I could end up that way too?
死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない死にたくない。
タ
Sayertan lays sideways on my desk, facing toward me with a smile. Is that you, Sayertan?
タッキー、あなたはこの部屋に引きこもってればいいんだよ。したらあの悪魔だって手出しできないっしょ。
Famous false promise, if I ever heard one.
そのうちに警察がうまく捕まえてくれるって。それまでは誰も信じちゃダメ。誰の言葉にも耳を傾けちゃダメ。悪魔ってさ、人の心の隙間をついてくるのが好きなんだよね。油断すんのはの。
Now relax. Now this isn't the X-Files. There's got to be at least a couple people that we can trust.
できるっしょ、タッキー。
でもセイラ、
逃げるが勝ちってよく言うし、3次元のことなんてきれいさっぱり忘れちゃえばいいさ。あなたには一切関係ないことだって思えば気が楽っしょ。
Can't keep running forever, because problems like these have a nasty habit of catching up with you when you least expect it.
関係ないこと考えたって無駄無駄さ。
Here's the problem here, Sarah. Apparently it does have something to do with me, because the lady that crucified the corpse called me by name and told me that she was looking for me. So, whether I want it to be the case or not, I'm kind of already involved. So, if you want to actually do something useful for me, I could really use that spiked mallet bat thing. Yeah, I think it's a mallet. No, I think a mallet's just a hammer. That's right. Well, just give me your goddamn weapon so I can use it to defend myself.
いいこと教えてあげる。引きこもりって最強なんよ。だって誰にも会わないっしょ。つまり誰にも攻撃されない。これぞ最強の自己防衛方法なわけさ。
Tell that to every single human being in existence that ever got blown up by shell bombing or anything like that in a war zone. I'm sure they would wholeheartedly agree with you.
だからタッキーは引きこもりになるべきなんさ。簡単っしょ。
Wouldn't that just be funny though if this pink-haired lady also had access to some heavy artillery like tank rounds or something like that? She just shows up in a freaking tank somewhere close by and literally just blows our freaking base right out of the sky. Oh, we're not flying, but well, we're up high, okay? So we're close enough to the sky as it is. But yeah, that would be hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. I would legit laugh at that.
そうかもしれない。
Just what I expect from my waifu. I can always count on her to give me the best advice. You know, I just realized something. Your waifu here has pink hair. The girl in the street who was crucifying that corpse has pink hair. Coincidence? I think not. Maybe this is fate. Maybe some higher being somewhere decided to give you a real-life pink-paired waifu. But just not quite in the form that you were expecting. Open your mind a little, Taku. Maybe a little bit of crimson every once in a while wouldn't be so bad. I'm joking about that last part, of course. It would obviously be horrible. But still, everything else though? Who the hell knows? Maybe I'm onto something. Having regained my peace of mind, I reached out my hand for Sayertan, lightly grasping her by her slim waist. Even as our faces drew closer, her smile never wavered.
ありがとうセイラ。おかげで勇気が出てきた。そうだよ。3次元だってクソくらいだ。あの悪魔だって僕みたいなキモオタのことなんて気にも留めてないさ。
You're already wrong about her not caring about some otaku freak like you caring that she saw you, and also, I'm sure the 3D world is gonna eat you sooner than you think.
僕は安全だ。安心して毎日演奏したり好きなアニメを見てれば何の問題もないんだ。
でもさっき言ったみたく油断は禁物だぞ。
分かってるよ。
I couldn't trust anyone. I wouldn't listen to a single word they had to say. All I had to do was be cautious of everything in the world. As long as I did that, everything would be just fine. Come back to planet Earth! We want our idiot back!
セイラにそこまで心配してもらえて僕は幸せだな。さてと、それじゃ気分直しに演スロット。
Isn't it sad that apparently the only person that really gives a shit about him besides what's his name from school is just a delusion? I had no idea you really had that sad an existence. Okay, that's a lie. I mean, everything else about your living condition should have already been clue enough of that. Oh.
約束は今ライアンクロスライアンクロス果たされるからライアンクロスライアンクロス解き放たれたライアンクロスライアンクロス週末
Late into the night, the sound of a beautiful voice could be heard throughout Miyashita Park. Now, who are you? It was coming from a pedestrian bridge that crossed over Meijidori. A steady flow of cars passed underneath. But in spite of this, the girl known as FES, or Fess, showed no sign of being affected by the noise. She simply kept on singing, leaning back against the handrail of the bridge.
月夜の光が示された従者よ
On any normal day, if she were to sing on the street in public like this, she would surely attract hundreds of onlookers. But right now, nobody was listening to her sing. For Fess was deliberately concealing her presence, blending into the stillness of the night. Concealing it how?
この場所へつながる幻の道
This way, she could loiter quietly until the moon left the sky behind. By doing so, by becoming one with the darkness, she felt as if she could free herself from the corrupt atmosphere of Shibuya, if only for a moment. That was what Fess felt to be true.
叫びはいつしか沈黙に変わって
Suddenly, Fess looked up to the night sky. The clouds covering it were starting to clear up, little by little, leaving space for the moonlight to shine through in their wake. But sadly, any and all starlight was completely drowned out by the dazzling neon of Shibuya.
落ちてゆく安息風に手と手をつないで
Fess halted her song, then slowly reached her hand out toward the sky.
その目誰の目
Here's that saying again. About a day had passed. and I'd spent pretty much every hour of it in base lard. I hardly even made time to eat. I'd immersed myself fully into the role of Nineheart, and in the process, completely erased every trace of Nishijo Takumi. And even so, I was an absolute god. No demon could ever strike fear into my heart, and I was respected by everyone. If only I could live in such a comfortable world for all eternity. I was certain I'd be far happier that way. Watch. Shogun's gonna show up, or somebody is gonna show up, and gonna make you realize the hard way that you're not safe even in your little game. And then you're gonna cry, and cry, and cry. Maybe kick your chair again, and cry some more. Because it was just like I was saying earlier. When reality wants to come a-knockin', it's gonna come knockin'. And it's gonna catch up to you if you try to run away from it.
おおエンジェルハイロ来たこれ超レアすげえこれは早速使わないと装備
FTW, net slang, short for the win. Used to express excitement about the subject.
おーキャラの見た目変わったすげえこれすげえ見て見ろ
I hear something knocking on your little container.
Huh?
Oh, this is happening even sooner than I thought it would.
うっせえ死ねよ負け組ちょっと町に戻って見せびらかしてこようかな
お兄
Oh, it's just my little sister. Finally, another legendary item to add to my collection. Naturally, I was stoked. My depression from earlier had been completely blown away.
お兄ってば
The angelic circuit had a drop rate of 0.00001%. It was so rare, some players thought it would be unobtainable.
おーい開け
Well, its stats were shit, so it was pretty much just a cosmetic item. But that was good enough. People could tell you had an angelic circlet just by looking at you, which is enough to make anyone green of envy.
やったナイトハルトがまた一歩神に近づいた
ほら開けろ
Shut up! Who the hell's been banging on my door for so goddamn long? Just when I'd finally managed to get a hold of a rare item, this happened. Couldn't a man enjoy his victories for 1 second?
バカ鬼
Answer the door, Bakani! That voice. The moment I realized who it was, my mood instantly took a nosedive. There was no mistaking it. That was the voice of an assassin sent by my parents. My little sister, Nanami. What a pain in the ass. Oh good! They finally decided to perform the ultimate act of consideration for the neighbors. Finally take care of the problem. For good.
開けないとひどいんだからね
Well, shit. Here came the storm to rain on my parade. I really didn't want to let her in, but if I didn't, my parents would probably get on my case about it. Stop living alone and move back in with us, they'd say. Oh wait, they actually want you to live with them? So you being out here is entirely voluntary on your part, is what you're saying. Interesting. I'd ignore them if I could, but my dad basically owned this building, so it'd take just a snap of his fingers for him to kick me out. Ugh, this was the worst.
おーに
STFU! That's slang for shut the fuck up. Used when someone's being extremely annoying. I swear her voice was so shrill it could shatter glass. The bang just didn't stop. And since the metal walls were pretty thin, the sound echoed loudly all throughout the container. Nanami was well aware of that. In fact, that was exactly why she was doing it. In the end, I had no choice. I reluctantly removed the padlock and opened the door. Okay, so you at least got a padlock on the doors.
あ、やっと出てきた。生存確認。
This baby-faced runt was my little sister. She was a year younger than me.
呼んでるんだから返事くらいしてよね。お兄死んじゃったかもって思ったじゃん。
Of course, the first thing out of her mouth was bitching. Is that what you call it? It just sounds like plain concern to me. And to make things worse, she was standing there with her hands on her hips, like the bratty little shit she was. The spitting image of irritating. I don't know, I look at this and I think the exact opposite of irritating. I think, fun times ahead. Her existence brought me nothing but suffering. And I have a feeling I'm going to like having her around just for that reason alone.
うわ、相変わらず部屋の中汚。ちょっとは片付けなよ。
No, unfortunately. I'm only 1.5 episodes into this so far, but so far I've learned enough about him to know that this guy is a filthy man, both in body and soul. His life is filth. He lives in filth. He cannot live in filth, and he can't not live in filth is what I'm trying to say there. If you take his filth away, he'd be a very unhappy little piggy. I mean, seriously, the guy sleeps in porn mags. Nanami just waltzed right on in without even asking. What the hell did she think she was doing? What, she thinks she could get away with whatever she wanted just because she was my little sister? And to think there were people out there who seriously believed that little sisters were moe. I always wanted to tell those guys how much of an epic fail that was. And I have a feeling you would isolate yourself from a significant chunk of your own fan communities if you said something like that out loud. Well, even though she was my sister, she certainly didn't look unsavory. She had a lolly body type, so I could see why that might make her pretty damn popular in some circles. But as her older brother, I didn't care about that. I wasn't into her at all. I would hope not! As far as I was concerned, she was downright repulsive, not to mention immature. Not to say I didn't like lollies, of course. Just the 2D's ones. Of course you do.
カビくさ。お兄の部屋って相変わらず不潔。掃除しろっていつも言ってるじゃん。どうしてしないの？まあ、どうせ掃除してくれる彼女なんかいないだろうし、お兄ってズボラだからこうなるのは目に見えてるけどさ。こうなったらやっぱりナナが掃除しに来てあげるしかないかな。
Well, that's nice of you. Even though you shouldn't have to work in this biohazard zone.
だが断る。
But I refuse. A quotation from a popular manga about bizarre adventures. On the internet is used frequently as a cool way to turn someone down. I feel like I should probably know what this is referencing, but my mind is drawing a blank.
なんでよ。
お前に部屋荒らされたくない。
きっとそれがわざわざ生存確認しに来てあげてる妹に言うセリフ？
Many things would change if you showed your older brother a little respect. All she did was just knock. And you just kept ignoring her. And why should I be grateful that you're checking on me? I sure as hell didn't ask for that.
まったくなんでこんな面倒ばっかりかけさせる兄弟と血つながってるんだろう。たまに嫌になっちゃうよ。はあ、なんか喉乾いちゃった。飲み物もらうね。
Nanami walked right past me and over to the mini fridge, once again acting like she owned the place. Oh, hello.
コーラしかないじゃん。ミルクティーとか用意しといてよ。
知らんがな。
しょうがないな。じゃあコーラもらうね。
Okay. Surprise fucking surprise. She went ahead and did as she pleased. There's this thing called permission, you know. So I'm just gonna... Yeah, this was explained to me here that, this little thing... I'm already forgetting the damn name of what these were called. But, she grabbed a bottle of cola from the fridge, one I already drank from, no less. After only a second of hesitation, she cracked it open and gulped it down. Damn it. Who the hell does she think she was, acting like such a goddamn princess? Sure, go ahead. Drink so much cola that you would destroy your stomach, you get sent to the emergency room. Then I can finally relax and spend some time alone. If only that would actually happen. Suddenly, Nami let out a groan. And as soon as she did, uh-oh. She dropped a bottle of soda, splashing cola everywhere. Spilled all over the manga magazines and CDs I'd left down there. Don't mess up my room, I was about to say. But then I realized what was happening. Oh no. Did I do this? Oh shit. Nanami's eyes had shot wide open, and her eyes were pressed against her neck. She looked like she was in immense pain. Her mouth repeatedly flapped open and closed like a carp.
Nanami.
She was vomiting blood. Red blood, actually. Oh, fuck. It was closer to dark brown. Splashed onto the floor, mixing with the spilled cola. Oh, God. And then she lost her strength and collapsed. Her entire body convulsed as she writhed in agony. She clawed at her own neck with her fingernails. Don't just stand there, you idiot! Do something! Her legs spasmed as she thrashed around on the floor. She didn't seem to care at all that this was causing her skirt to flip up, exposing her panties. This might seem a little in poor taste, but when I saw the way she was acting, I thought that she looked just like a fish on a chopping board. I didn't know what to do, so I just covered my ears. But I didn't help. I could still hear my sister's dying screams. Before long, her face was completely covered in drool, blood, and tears, and her body finally stopped trembling.
Nanami.
I reluctantly tried calling out to her, but there was no response. She was just lying there, in a pretty compromising position. The smell of ammonia hit my nose. Has she pissed herself? Or had I? Gently, ever so gently, I poked her shoulder. She didn't move a muscle. Although I was a little scared, I gathered the courage to bring my ear near her lips. She wasn't breathing. She was dead. Nanami was dead. It was like she'd been poisoned. The kind of thing you'd see all the time on TV. And now's when it hit me. I must have poisoned my own cola to kill Nanami. I was sure of it.
なぜ殺した？
Obviously, it's just been another one of my delusions, but it still made me sick to my stomach. Okay, so that didn't actually happen. That whole thing had definitely been a bit much. One shot. Video game terminology: to kill an entity with a single attack. Sure, Nanami could be really annoying, but that delusion had been way too graphic. I should have just left her at 1 HP, not fucking one-shotted her. Oh, thank fucking God. I thought I killed you. Like, holy shit. Well, lesson learned. I'll definitely try to avoid being reckless with messing with those colored squares from now on.
どうしたの？
After finishing her cola, Nanami shot me a confused look.
なんか顔色悪いけど。
I just shook my head a little.
ごめん。
何が？
とにかくごめん。
Even if it was just a delusion, I treated you horribly. I'm sorry. Well, look at that. You actually do have a conscience deep down. That's only because I can't stand your bratty attitude. I hate it so much that I took it out on you inside my head. Would it kill you to understand that? Well, it certainly killed her just a minute ago, for her to understand it.
ミルクティーがないくらいでナナ怒んないよ。それになんだかんだ言ってコーラも好きだし。
Oh, wait. Did she just drink all my cola? I take back my apology. Nami doesn't deserve it at all. I hope she gets her stomach torn open and bleeds out.
もう帰れよ。
You did your whole survival check thing, and now your job here is done, right? Why'd you feel the need to barge in here every time?
お兄、冷たい。
Seemed like I managed to offend her somehow. She pursed her lips into a pout and glared at me. I was already done for shit, though, so I looked away.
せっかく心配して様子を見に来てあげてるのに。お兄ってずっとここに引きこもって誰とも喋らずに一日を終えちゃうことだってあるんでしょ？女の子と話す機会だってどうせ全くないんだよね。
Shut up. Stop making fun of me, you stupid bitch. I'm not into 3D girls, so why would I ever bother talking to them?
言ってみればお兄と話す女の子はナナだけってことじゃん。だからさ、もっとナナのこと大事にしてよ。そしたら女の子との接し方もちょっとは分かってくるはずだし。
While she was nagging, Nanami picked up one of my figures, Hikaru-tan from the Suicide for Hikari, and started staring at it. Damn it, don't touch my waifu without asking. If you leave even a single fingerprint on her, I will actually beat the shit out of you.
あと お兄は自分のことにもっと気を使って。こんなお人形さんにうつつを抜かしてる場合じゃないよ。ナナはお兄の死体の第一発見者になんかなりたくないからね。
They're not dolls. They are not even action figures. They are collectible figurines! As I'm sure is what he'd like to say. What the hell is she trying to imply? It felt like she'd been becoming more and more like Mom lately. Which meant that she'd gotten even more fucking annoying! Oh, you poor
いいから
man.
帰れよ。
I almost feel sorry for you.
そんなに帰れ帰れ言わないでよ、お兄のバカ。まだこっちには用事が残ってるの。
She was getting more hysterical by the minute. If I made her any angrier, things would get out of hand. So chill out, me.
携帯買いに行こう。
は
What did she just said?
お父さんがそうしろって。お兄が携帯持てばいつでも生存確認できるじゃん。お金はナナが預かってきたから今から買いに行こうよ。今時携帯持ってない人なんていないよ。時代に取り残されちゃうよ。
Shut up already, you teenage trend-chasing bitch. I'm not the one who lives under a rock here, you wrong-sider. A rock would probably be more dignified than this place, to be fair. The internet gives me all the information I need. Well, she was right about one thing. These days, it was normal for a high school student to have a phone. And I didn't have one. And of course, that was because I never used it anyway. I didn't have anyone to call or text. And I didn't want to pay for something I wasn't going to use.
だから行こう。
Nami put the figure back on the shelf and turned her attention back to me.
どうせお兄は機種とかわかんないだろうからナナと同じ機種にしちゃいなよ。
As she said that, she took her own phone out for her bag and started showing it off like it was some precious heirloom.
ほら、これがナナの。色が可愛いでしょ。ついでだからストラップも同じのあげるよ。
うわ、なんという手抜きキャラ。
The character hanging from the phone strap was far from cute. It looked horrible. There was no way a professional had designed it. I've seen a lot worse. It looked like one of those shit-tier, ugly, cute characters. Like one of those official government mascots.
手抜きじゃないもん。ゲロカエルにはこういうデザインなの。今すっごく流行ってるんだからね。はあ、女子高生の流行なんてお兄が知ってるわけないか。そういうとこを直せば少しは女子と会話成立すると思うよ、きっと。
God damn it! Just shut the fuck up already, you trend-chasing bitch! The fuck is this Jiro Froggy shit? There was no way this thing was popular. Anyone with a half a brain could tell you that. And you just keep proving her point by displaying your ignorance. That little frog that you think is horrendous, I actually could see being pretty popular among a fair number of the fairer sex. She didn't realize she was just being played by the media. It was honestly sad.
っていうか今はゲロカエルの話じゃなくて、いいから携帯買いに行こうよ。あ、別にお揃いがいいとか言ってるわけじゃないからね。家族で同じ機種だと基本料金が割引されるサービスがあるからだよ。家族で持ってないのはお兄だけなんだからね。
いらない。
なんで？お金はお父さんが出してくれるんだよ。
必要ない。
It would be a nuisance, if anything. If I had a phone, Mom would definitely call every day. If I kept ignoring those calls, they'd keep sending little Miss Assassin Nanami over here to lay on the pressure. My family life would become even more of a living hell, and I'd have to start being way more careful as a result. I couldn't let that happen.
もう信じらんないよこのバカ鬼。もう帰る。
ああ、そうしてくれ。
I opened the door for her to finally leave, but Nanami didn't budge an inch. She just shot her arms down to her sides, looking even more upset than before.
ほんとバカ。アホバカ鬼。駅まで送ってくれるとかしてよ。
やだね。
She never acted like this before. Why'd she suddenly want me to walk her to the station? What was so special about today? Dude! There are a lot of crazy deaths and murders going on lately. I'm pretty sure she's aware of that too and would like to have somebody escort her so she doesn't have to wander alone in case, you know, she runs into someone a little on the crazy looking side. Kind of like what you did last night.
だって最近殺人事件とかで物騒じゃんか。こういう場合心配するのが兄弟ってもんでしょ。
Yesterday's events were resurrected in my mind once again, if only for a second. I frantically shook my head, trying to get that gruesome scene out of my mind, and I just barely managed to.
どうでもいいし。
Either way, it wasn't like the new gen murder was twisted enough to attack some brat like Nanami. As far as you know.
ありえない。ナナが死んでもいいって言うんだ。
Nanami was tearing up. It seemed like my words had really gotten to her. Hehe, serves you right. Maybe you should think twice about disturbing my peace and quiet next time. This is just my own way of taking a little revenge for once. Get fucked. No, you.
バカ、死んじゃえ。鬼なんか猟奇的に殺されちゃえ。
After spitting those parting words at me, Nanami pushed past me and ran away as fast as she could. Seemed like the storm had finally passed. The room grew peaceful and quiet once again. Well, I will give you credit, Taku. Takumi. Why am I forgetting your goddamn name? I've already heard it plenty of times right now. I should know it by now. What is wrong with me? Well, whatever. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm impressed. I'm not even 2 full episodes in, and you're already irritating me in several ways more than the protagonist of the last game I'd covered. This is how things should always be around here. My own perfect little world, where stupid bullshit wasn't allowed. I sat down in front of my PC, shaking my mouse a little to clear the Saratan screensaver. I tried to take a sip of the cola bottle on my desk, but it was empty.
しまった。これ、ナナミがさっき飲んだやつだ。
Oh, what? You think you're going to have an indirect kiss of her or something? Oh, God. I just had an indirect kiss of my little sister. Yeah, I called that too. I'm gonna puke. Maybe if she was a little more charming, it would have been the kind of eroge-like situation I could fap to. But with that horrible personality, no chance. If anybody's got a horrible personality here, it's you. If anything, it only made me more flaccid. I do not want to hear about what makes you the opposite of flaccid, good sir. I'd really rather not. I put the cap back on the bottle, then threw it at the big garbage bag in the corner of my room. But it didn't go in the bag, instead bouncing off the wall and rolling under my bed. Well, whatever. Anyway, time to dive straight back into ESO. I just want to forget about the annoying real world ASAP. but it wouldn't last long. Just one day later, my immersion would be broken once again. My mental state had been on the up and up lately, but the moment I stepped outside, it all came crashing down again. Damn it. Why did I have to go to school today? It was so early.
なんで今日なんだよ。最低最悪だ。
But it wasn't like I could just take the day off. If I did, my minimum attendance charge would get all thrown off, and then I wouldn't be able to graduate.
卒業って何を卒業するって言うんだよ。
I was the one insisting on going through with it, but I still couldn't help but complain. As I approached the wealthy district of Matsunami, I finally realized. I've been feeling a gaze for a while now. Is that you, pink hair? But this wasn't the usual god's gaze. I didn't feel any shivers on my back and on the back of my neck. Yeah, I saw that! As I turned the corner, I took a quick glance, a tiny glance behind me, and I caught a glimpse of a girl wearing a Sume uniform. No way. Was it the demon from yesterday? I instantly lost my composure. An extreme amount of tension overtook my body, and my walking became stilted. A moment ago, it was a quiet morning like any other. But now, it felt like the entire world was out to get me. I could faintly hear the sound of birds chirping atop the phone lines, and I could also hear music from the morning news playing in nearby homes. In a peaceful scene like this, where crime would seem totally out of place, I came close to imagining myself getting brutally murdered. Okay, I need to calm down. It wasn't like I'd clearly seen her face or anything. And there was nothing strange about seeing Sume students walking behind me. We were headed for the same destination after all. I would be fine. You keep telling yourself that. Even though school was straight ahead, I decided to take a hard right. I was worried about what could be behind me, but I desperately suppressed the urge to turn around. I needed to keep my cool and act natural. My heart was pounding, but I kept walking. I continued for about a minute or so, until I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I slowly turned around. Never mind, I guess it wasn't pink hair after all. We made eye contact for a second, but I panicked and turned back around. Why was she following me? This path was obviously the long way to school. That meant she had to be tailing me. Either way, I never seen her before. She definitely wasn't a demon from yesterday, that was for sure. She was wearing glasses, and the demon girl hadn't been. That fact alone was enough to calm me down. I decided to just head straight for school. I have to skip my routine breakfast at the park because of it. But all well.
くそ、女子 A め。
To me, you're just some background character. Pedestrian 1 or Girl A. So stay out of my way, goddammit! After I entered the school, Girl A disappeared. I expected her to continue tailing me, but instead she turned and headed toward the third-year classrooms. Maybe she was never tailing me in the first place. Maybe I was just overthinking it. But still, it was definitely weird that she'd taken the same detour that I had. Did she hate me for some reason? Had I done something to piss her off? I didn't think so. No, I couldn't have. I hardly ever went to school, and when I did, I tried to keep my presence very minimal. So then what the hell was he trying to accomplish? Somehow, I managed to make it through the torture known as school. On my way back, I made my usual stop at Cafe. I took my seat in room 37. The nearby rooms were normally always empty, but surprisingly, that wasn't true today. There was someone in room 36. Their door was closed, but the light from the desk lamp leaked through the cracks. I couldn't help but click my tongue when I entered my room. Having someone sitting nearby posed a bit of a problem. Whenever I did things like chatting online, I had the tendency to talk to myself sometimes. Well, whatever. Time to just ignore it and log on to ESO already. Just as long as I make a conscious effort to stay quiet, it shouldn't really be an issue.
だよこいつら。
Irritated, I slammed my hands down on the keyboard. It had only been 2 hours since I started playing, and I was already this close to throwing myself off a cliff. Losing horribly, I take it? The people I partied up with today were total noobs. Yep. I've been trying my best to help them, but one of them went all Leroy Jenkins and just died repeatedly. Now, there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Then the other one was a mage, but he didn't cast any healing spells at all. As a result, we just kept getting full party wiped over and over again. And yet, instead of figuring out why it was happening, all they ever did was continue to piss and moan in the chat. Fuck these shitty players. I finally just lost it. I proceeded to PK both of them, steal all their items, and instantly escape to another area. Everything Nineheart couldn't do, Lisa Latte could do with a second thought. This is exactly why I came all the way to At Cafe for. Jerk. Finally feeling a little better, I breathed a sigh of relief and went to grab a drink. At Cafe had a bunch of all-you-can-drink soda fountains in the reception area. And related to that was the only bad thing about room 37. It was kind of far away from the reception area. Hey, I see a bag with more of those Giro Froggies. And when I left my room, the door to room 36 was open. Naturally, in order to make my way to the front, I had to go past it. I casually took a peek inside as I walked past, but there was nobody in there. Come to think of it, I had heard someone get up a moment ago. And although there was no one there, I saw a bag on the ground next to the reclining chair. It looked like a school bag, and there were a few toy straps hanging from it. They were Giro Froggies, like the one Nanami had shown me yesterday. There were 3 of them total. I guess they really were popular. See? She wasn't bullshitting you, and neither was I. You goddamn hermit. Well, whatever. It wasn't like I cared either way. Besides, if the person came back and caught me staring, they might have taken me for a pervert or a thief. Realizing that, I decided to just go get my drink. However, as I went to leave, my eye caught a glimpse of the text on their monitor, and I froze. All things New Gen. And if that wasn't enough, it was written in the most sickening font, as if it was trying to freak me out. New Gen. I've been deliberately avoiding any and all info about those cases. I really didn't want to know anything more about them. As long as I kept avoiding them, I could keep telling myself that they had nothing to do with me. No, forget about that. More importantly, The customer next door to me was looking at a site lining out everything about New Gen. Was it just a coincidence? Or did it mean something? For a moment, the face of the demon girl flashed through my mind, sending goosebumps across my entire body. I shook my head violently, trying to force those horrible thoughts away. I was just overthinking it. Yeah, I had to be. Nobody was out to get me. I was just being paranoid. New Gen was pretty much all the media had talked about lately. By this point, anyone would be interested in it. That was all it was. Yup, no doubt about it. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, you just keep telling yourself that. Anyway, I should just go get my drink already, then get back to business. And I'm sure we're gonna run right into the occupant of room 36 while we're getting our drink, right? I quickly placed my cup under the dispenser and pressed the cola button. Delicious ice-cold cola started pouring out. It was getting dark outside, which meant this place was going to get really crowded soon. There were already a few customers standing by the front desk, waiting to be shown to their rooms. And the darker it got, the more people would show up. In about an hour or so, all the rooms surrounding room 37 would fill up. Once that happened, it'd be time for me to head home. I took my cup and headed back toward my seat. On the way, I casually glanced down the hall toward the bathrooms. That's when... Well, look who it is. I saw a girl's figure disappear into the corridor. She'd been wearing a sume uniform and had glasses on her face. I recognized her. It was the same girl that had been tailing me this morning. Girl A. I thought I might have been mistaken, so I hid behind some bookshelves and looked toward that corridor for a while. But she never showed up again. Must have just been my imagination. Yeah, it had to have been. I'd only seen her for half a second after all. This place was typically swarming with sume girls, and plenty of them wore glasses. But what if it had been Girl A? If she was here, what would that mean? Good question. What would it mean for us? Clearly she's interested in you. What I want to know is why. Was it just a coincidence? Or had she followed me? I was starting to get a little scared. You know what? I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave things here for now. So, from the looks of things, we've got not one, but two people who seem to be tailing us. The first one being Pink Hair, who says that she's been looking for us. Well, I guess that doesn't technically fit the definition of tailing, but well, we have two people that are clearly looking into us. And now we got this second girl who's just tailing us everywhere. I do not think that these two things are unrelated. And I'm sure that all this stuff, it ties into the New Gen stuff somehow. At least that part is obvious to me. All this strange stuff happening right around the time these New Gens, this New Gen stuff started occurring. Us stumbling across Pink Hair, and now Girl A, as he's calling her. We're already involved. What I want to know is, why are we involved? Why exactly are we getting involved? What's our role in this whole affair? Anywho, I am still very much intrigued and curious to see what's going to happen next. And I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Chaos Head Noah. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.